welcome to this episode of Ranger Touring. You would have seen this car in quite a few of my videos. This is Chris's Prado, and today we're going to be doing a bit of a walkthrough of his car and seeing what he's done to make it keep up with the Ranger. I'll hand over to Chris and we'll talk through some of the specs that are on the car.
2014 Prado GXL, that's the 1KD engine, the last of the 3 litres. When I got it, it was pretty well stocked at about 140,000 Ks. Now it's pushing somewhere up just under 200,000 Ks, so done a substantial amount in the last few years of owning it. Now it's got bits and pieces everywhere.
So starting from the front, we'll kind of work our way from the front of the car to the back, and then we'll go inside and check out all the camping modifications and features. So I guess, Chris, over to you. What's up the front?
So for the bull bar, we've got the ARB bull bar with moving number plate, all the bits and pieces, worn winch in there, 11,000 pounds or 11 tonne, whatever the rating is on it. A couple of steady spotlights, and then looking underneath the car, front to rear, K1 underbody protection.
You got the recovery points down the bottom as well?
Indeed, ARB recovery points, 2 of.
Do you know what they're rated to?
No idea. And outside of that, also GME antenna.
Why'd you go the short one?
Well, to be fair, I've never done anything that requires long distance. Most of the stuff that you and I do is in the mountains or in tracks where we're close enough that, you know, you don't really need a big, what is it, 6 or 9 decibel, huge antenna. So smaller the better, keeps it out of my eyesight, doesn't make something annoying, it's just there.
Have you used your winch yet?
Yes, mostly to pull you out of places, to be fair.
That's not correct.
It is correct. You can cut to that footage of me pulling you out at Genoan Hills. Other than that, the only other time I had to use it in anger was when we got stuck in whatever forest that was.
Imbil State Forest?
Imbil State Forest, stuck right down in the bottom of that creek in the pouring rain as the creek was starting to flood, starting to increase. The banks were 3 foot, 4 foot vertical, and we had to cut that out and then winch our way up.
Nice, straightening up, that's good. I've got the same winch in mind, the worn synthetic rope. It's a great winch. What have you got done to your engine or anything like that? Any mods?
So the dual battery setup, same battery on either side as well, primarily there so that we can do jump starting if I need to swap the batteries around. Yeah. Secondary fuel filter, there is a catch can on it as well, and then a bunch of electrics, including a Red Arc BC-DC 1225, whatever it is. So it's got solar input as well as managing the 2 battery systems.
Where's your solar input?
Solar input I've got here. Really need to move it somewhere handier, but it works for what I need.
Yep, and then you got your BC-DC tucked down there.
Yep.
Yeah, you can sort of just see the top of it. Yeah, it's the same place I got mine in there.
It's 105 amp hour.
Nice. Would you go to lithium?
If I was going to do my battery system again, yes, I'd go lithium.
So these tyres, that's a recent upgrade. You would have seen in, well, I don't know if the video's come out yet, but if it has, you'll see in the video. Chris actually pops a Bridgestone jeweler, and now he's onto these ones. What do you got?
Right now we've got the Falcon Wild Peaks, so they're 265 70 R17, so one slight size bigger than the originals, which was 265 65 17.
Yep, and that's what you had on the jewels, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bridgestone jewelers came with the car.
Any issues with them?
No, absolutely no issues. They work perfectly fine, but considering how much we go out, I think we go up slightly in size, and Falcon Wild Peaks tend to have a good review.
You still got plenty of clearance. What suspension are you running?
It's just a standard, whatever, ARB, Old Man Emu, their baseline stuff.
Yeah, nice. And those aren't the stock rotors either on the front, are they?
Yeah, so I've done a brake upgrade the whole way around, new rotors, primarily because on a couple of times where we were out on some of those harder tracks, going down some very steep hills, the original brakes weren't quite holding, and it was getting a little bit sketchy as it would ease its way down a hill unintentionally.
That's got discs all around, doesn't it? That
Indeed,
comes stock, right?
Yep.
That's a massive perk. You would have seen in my video that I said the worst thing about the Ford Ranger is the drum brakes in the rear. The new one has discs all around, but it's a real benefit for the Prado to come stock with that right out of the bag. So as well as that stock, the Toyota Prado has another added benefit on top of the Ranger, which is that it comes with coil sprung rear. So we found that the Prado is a lot more comfortable on the off-road tracks than the old Ford. But how does it go sort of carrying the weight that you got in the back now?
I mean, you barely feel it, to be honest.
Okay.
All the times that you're complaining along the tracks of how rough and how arduous it is on your back, and I barely knew that it was that at all.
Yeah, so, yeah, springs are definitely the way to go. You got a long range tank?
Yeah, so it's got a 150 litre long range tank, which does mean that the spare wheel's on the back of the car, on the door, as opposed to actually being under the car. But the person who prefer that means I have to refuel half as often as you do.
Yeah, that's fair. So how far can you get out of a tank these days with the new added tyres?
With the new tyres, you're looking at about 1200 k's.
It's pretty good. Can't complain about that. That is quite literally double what I get. We're just going to walk away around. So we're looking at the ARB base rack. Was there any reason you went the base rack over the Rhino rack or anything like that?
There is, primarily because the base rack had east-west, you know, crossbars versus running the length of the vehicles. Just makes it better if you're going to put a swag or something up there. Personally, I prefer that.
For tie downs?
Yeah, for tying down.
Okay. And then you got two max tracks up the top, which is the pins. Safari snorkel. Safari snorkel is obviously pretty much one of the only ones to go anyway. Yep. So I've done a pretty extensive review on the bush rack or awning, but just to summarize, it's 2.5 meters, correct? Yep, 2.5.
2.5, 2.7 maybe?
Yeah, something like that. You can check that video out. And it's a 270 wraparound awning, and it covers the back of the Prado, and it does scrub a little bit if you don't have the pole there, but generally speaking, it's a perfect fit. All right, so on the back you got the spare tire. And
yes.
Yep, there we go. And the bag, where'd you get that one from?
Straight from the drifter themselves.
Yeah, okay, I've got a similar one like that. So
this is a Prado specific bag from memory. I think that just means that the attachment clips for putting it on are more accessible, being that the wheels on the back.
Gotcha. Did you get the single insert or the double?
Single.
Single, okay. Yeah, they're good. So you haven't upgraded the rear bar, just keeping it stock for now?
Yeah, standard Toyota tow bar.
Nice.
Needed anything else.
And then you've got a water tank tucked on the bottom?
Yeah, if you come around this side, you can see up underneath here.
Yep.
It's the K-On water tank fitted up under there with a tap just here. Nice cap on there to prevent any dust getting in, but nice and accessible.
Oh, how many litres you got in that one?
30 litres.
Damn, that's not bad. You've had to relocate the spare camera?
Yeah, so for the purpose of putting on this spare wheel bag, normally the rear facing camera on the Prado would be right in the middle of that spare wheel. Obviously with the bag on there, have to shift it around so Cam make a nice bracket. It'll sit right here. Make sure that you can actually see behind you.
So there's two lights, one on the rear and then one on the side. Where'd you get those ones from?
Both steady, both amber camping lights.
All right, so this is the part I'm the most jealous about of Chris's car. Open her up. Let's go, let's talk it through.
This is the permanent setup for full driving and camping, starting with, again, K-On, nice little rear table, plus a little shelf, plenty of toilet paper, plus usually a couple of stubby coolers. These things are great. It's good for stopping on the side of the road. You can stop for lunch, make up some wraps, anything like that.
And take a bit of weight?
Yeah, I believe there's videos out there showing 20, 40 kilos that can sit on this thing.
Nice.
But yeah, excellent to have there, plenty of bench space. In addition to that, we've got the drifter drawers bought through Drifter. I went for whatever you call this option: drawer, slide for the fridge box, table, and the addition of some tie down points that I use primarily for this big nice tub here with all my cooking gear.
So what do you put in the drawers? What do you got in there?
Standard everything. Usually a whole bunch of pantry sort of stuff in here, all the various food, as well as tools, some spares, stuff to tie crap on the roof, crash pad, whatever boxes. They just fit perfectly based on the size, so went with them.
The big perk about the drifter drawers is that there isn't a slide for them. They just work off it's Teflon slides, right?
Yeah, Teflon or silicon, something around, it's probably Teflon. Yeah, so instead of having big steel slides taking up some of the width, they just sit straight on top, gives you as much width as possible. The drifter table, which does come all the way out, otherwise you can just use it here to cook lunch on or do whatever you want with, but that's a great table that we use for everything from lunch to cards.
Okay, let's whack open the fridge.
Fridge slide, nice, locks out, easy to do. Big 60-litre fridge sitting in there.
So I've got a few questions on this one. Firstly, how does it fit so well?
Because when I talked to Drifter about getting these drawers done, I told them exactly what dimensions the fridge was, and they built everything here to that size.
So if you wanted to go Waco, they'll just modify that to make it work for your fridge?
Yeah, so they'll build around whatever fridge dimensions you give them.
That's perfect, that's great.
In addition to that, and as you can see down on the left-hand side, through there, you can see 12-volt panel with buttons there for lights and a couple of spare buttons for accessories, as well as a battery monitor, voltage there, and a couple of USB ports.
Nice, charging my GoPro batteries.
Yes.
Just to come back to the fridge, why the My Coolman?
Heard good things about them. They seem to work well, they're on special, and it fits nicely with the amount of room I have between the rear seats and the back of the car.
Fair.
The only other thing we've got in here is the K-on shelf and the K-on barrier there. Barrier because I don't want any of the stuff I put in here to roll forward into the front of the car when moving about doing full driving bits and pieces, and the shelf because they're just bloody good. I've always got
for storage.
Yeah, I've always got a couple of first aid kits, snake bite kit, usually a couple of towels. I've got a picnic blanket. Up here, kitchen roll with all the bits and pieces, and that stuff lives up there pretty well permanently.
And in the box?
You can have a look in the box if you want to swap sides. Gas cooker, pans, stuff for washing up, pots. There's a wok in there, some bug spray. Usually throw in maybe some Ryobi lights and batteries, and that's about it.
Nice, very nice.
I do have these couple of nice little,
oh yeah,
I guess you'd call them little netting, just hanging there by bungees. Can't remember where I got them from. I've had them for years. I just decided I'd chuck them on there.
Yeah, this is very well neatly kept, and it's just a great design. The drifted drawers, they're just so well polished. Did you you installed them yourself though, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so it's easy enough to do?
Yeah, it probably takes 15 minutes to get them out and about 10 minutes to get them in, including doing all the bolts up.
Is that including taking the seats out originally?
No, I mean the seats, you have to do all that yourself.
Yeah. How much experience sort of doing this sort of work do you need, and sort of what tools did you need to get it done?
As long as you've got the various spanners required, probably a ratchet and a couple of sockets, and you can do it all yourself. So looking in the back, generally speaking, when it's by myself, I put the swag in the back seat there, as well as a camp chair. You can see I've got all my recovery gear as well, a few other things, shovel, axe, whatever's required that won't fit in the back.
So I've got a stick.
Yeah.
See, you got the ARB air compressor, but the one that is in a box.
Mm-hmm.
So you use that.
Yeah. I guess one of the benefits of that is, whilst some people that have them integrated and you can put it in under one of the wheel arches or inside the car, having that, I can walk out of the car in the rain, I can be up there, I can have the box open, I can be doing the wheels and rain's not coming inside the car, unlike some of the people who have to open their boot or have to open the door and may let rain in. But also, you know, it's a much cheaper option than trying to get it physically installed. Don't have the space in the engine bay, being that there's a catch can in where you'd normally mount it.
Gotcha. Would you get it mounted next time if you had the chance?
Honestly, unsure. I don't find any hassle with this. I mean, with the amount of time that you have to spend pumping up your muddies, by the time I've got out, taken that out, pumped up mine, there's usually no difference.
That's fair.
And it also means I can give it to someone else if they ever need it.
I borrow his quite often, just to get mine done. Muddies don't inflate well.
Right. There are a few modifications around the interior in the front here. The dash mat came with it, bit of Velcro so it doesn't move around. I've got the Garmin up there for navigation when we're off-road. Decided on the Garmin over the HEMA, primarily because it's just so damn satisfying that it just finds its own way on there whenever you need to. Ryan, you've got the HEMA yourself, so between us we've got just about every map we could need. Do have the GME radio there.
That's the XRS?
XRS 370 from memory. That sits there, it's within range, it's within reach, and the actual unit itself is tucked in behind the glove compartment. I do have seat covers. That was actually the first thing I did with the car, was get the black duck seat covers, mostly so that I wouldn't wreck or ruin any of the interior of the car. They fit perfectly, extremely comfortable. Opposite the hybrid, and can't top.
Alright, so that's the walk around. We'll just go through a couple of quick questions. Okay, favourite thing about the car?
It's a wagon, so everything is inside the car. Nothing gets dusty.
Favourite mod?
Probably the drawers on the back.
What do you use the most?
Awning.
You do use your awning a lot.
Yep, it takes 30 seconds to put up, a minute to put down, and it is excellent.
That's the biggest perk about a quick to set up awning. If it takes too long, you won't use it. Would you buy another Prado again?
Yes. As long as the engine's all right in it, I would.
Would you upgrade to anything else?
No. It would be, I'm going to stick with Toyota. It's just too good for various options I'm not going to go into. And it's either going to be a Prado or hopefully one day a full Land Cruiser.
Fair enough. Any modifications still to go?
The only things, one, I'd love to have lithium, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. And the other one would be a rooftop tent. It'd be nice to go for a rooftop tent. It'd just be so much easier to get everything out of the car, put it onto the roof, but it does have the negatives there of removing all that roof space that you have for tying down swags. So when you've got friends coming along, it's easy to throw 2 swags on the roof. It's a lot harder if you've got a rooftop tent up there.
And you can't fit in your garage either.
That would be a negative, yes.
What's the next big trip? What are you planning?
There's going to be plenty more around Queensland, no doubt, but the big one will be Cape York at some point in the future.
2024?
Hopefully.
That's it, 2024 Cape York, strap in. That's it guys for this video, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed Chris's walk around of his car. It's an awesome vehicle and it's kept up with the Ranger the whole way, so you know it's good. Thanks for tuning in to Ranger Touring.